This is going to be a very exciting video as we will learn 4 things. The first will be to find out how many times a value occurs using the COUNTIFS formula. Second, we'll identify duplicates from a given set of values. This is something so many people want to know. Excel allows you to delete duplicates but not identify them. The third thing we will do is find out the occurrence number for a duplicate value. And finally, we'll retrieve a value based on the occurrence number, like first, second, third, etc. Do you think this is of use to you? If yes, then let's roll. The data that we have is very easy to understand. The name of the top salesperson for a period of 14 years and the units sold by them is given. And on the right hand side, we have the names of all the salespeople in reverse alphabetical order. The first thing that we need to do is find out how many times have they been the top salesperson. We can use either the COUNTIF and COUNTIFS formula. COUNTIF works with only one condition, whereas COUNTIFS works with one or more conditions. Other than the formula name, the syntax is exactly the same. I always recommend COUNTIFS as it gives us the flexibility to add more conditions to an existing formula if required. So let's write COUNTIFS. The criteria range is the list of all the names, therefore B2 to B15. We'll press F4 to fix the reference. The criteria will be the cell G2, which contains the first name. We get the count as 1. This is correct as William's name appears only once for the year 2018. As we copy, we see that Sean was the top salesperson 3 times, Ravi, Pam and Amy twice, and the rest only once. It's a fairly simple function. If you have multiple conditions, you will need to provide multiple criteria range and criteria pairs. Now let's look at the second objective. In the column D, we need to write a yes or a no for duplicates against each name. If someone has been the top salesperson for more than one time, then we need to display a yes in front of their names, else we show a no. So to begin with, let's write the same COUNTIFS formula in the cell D2. COUNTIFS, the criteria range will be B2 to B15 and we'll fix the reference. Criteria will be B2. Now, if we copy the formula, we get the number of times their name appears. We need to replace all the values greater than 1 with a yes and all the ones with a no. So I'm going to write an if statement right after the equal to sign. If. Now let's convert the values returned by COUNTIFS formula into a logical test. We can do that by checking if the value COUNTIFS returns is greater than 1. So this becomes our logical test. If the value is true, then it means that the name appears more than once or it is a duplicate value. Therefore, in the value if true parameter of if statement, we will write yes in double quotes. And in the value if false, which means the name occurs only once, we will write no. Close the bracket and copy the formula. And just like that, we've identified the duplicate values. Now that we've understood how to find out duplicate values, let's take it up a notch. In this third challenge, we will find out the occurrence number for each salesperson in the top salesperson list. So for instance, Amy appears on the list for the first time in 2010. So we want to write 1 in front of her name in 2010. Then her name appears again on the list for the year 2022. We want to write 2 in front of her name for the year 2022. Let's see how do we do that. This one is a little advanced, so I'm going to build the formula step by step. I can just write it in one step, but then what's the point of this video? Let's begin. The COUNTIFS formula takes 2 parameters. One is criteria range and the other is the criteria. Usually in such formulas, the criteria range is fixed, but this case is different. The way we will solve this is by having a dynamic range. As we start from the first name in the list, we will search for how many times does the name Amy Smith appear in the first row itself. So we will write the formula as COUNTIFS And the criteria range is B2 to B2 as we're only checking in the first row. The criteria is B2. The answer will be 1. And I know this is not very intuitive, but it gets better after this. Now when we move one row down, we will check how many times does the name Ravi Singh appear in the first two rows. So the formula becomes COUNTIFS. The criteria range will be B2 to B3 as we need to check in the first two rows. Criteria will be B3 as we are checking for Ravi Singh now. Now as we move down, we will check in the first three rows. COUNTIFS, criteria range is B2 to B4 and the criteria is B4. As we go to the fourth row, things will get much clearer if they haven't already. Now we want to check for Ravi Singh in the first four rows. Remember, this is the second occurrence of his name. COUNTIFS. Criteria range is B2 to B5 and the criteria is B5. Now we get the result as 2, which is indicating that the name Ravi Singh has appeared for the second time. Now as we go through the formula one by one, we see an interesting pattern in the range. In the first row it is B2 to B2, then it is B2 to B3, then B2 to B4 and then B2 to B5. In each row it is starting from B2 that contains the first name and then it is increasing by one row. Our criteria range is increasing by one row every time. The reason for this is simple. This allows us to only count the number of times that a name has appeared till that row. So when we are on row 3, the formula only counts the instance of Ravi Singh till that row, which is 1. If we had taken the entire range B2 to B15, then it would have counted the instance on cell B5 and returned 2. Our work is still not over, as we can't just copy the formula for the rest of the rows as it is. We need to make some changes. We will delete all the instances of the formula except the first one. Since we always begin from the cell B2, we will write it as $2. That's it, no more changes required. Now as we copy, we can see the range increase by one row every time we move one cell down. In the next row, it becomes B2 to B3, then B2 to B4, B2 to B5, and so on. Now we can see which occurrence is it on the list for each salesperson. Amy appears on the list for the first time in 2010 and then for the second time in 2022. Although the formula is simple, but this one is a slightly advanced implementation. If you feel that it is only partially clear at the moment, then don't worry. It does require looking at the explanation a few times. Feel free to watch this portion of the video as many times as you want. If such content is important to you, then consider subscribing so that you don't have to search for us again and you can find us easily in the left menu of YouTube. Now let's jump to the last bit. I have written Sean Stevens' name here and under occurrence I have written 1. Let's change this number to 3. We need to find out the units sold by Sean for the year when his name was on the list for the third time. We can do this using multiple functions. I'm going to do this using the filter function today. You can also do this using index and match and even XLOOKUP, but let's save that for another video. So let's write filter. Since we want only the value of units sold, I will only select C2 to C15. The next parameter is called include. It means the filter conditions. We have two. The first one is the name should be Sean Stevens. So B2 to B15, where we have all the names equal to G13. Let me move this, where we have Sean Stevens. If you have to filter on multiple conditions, then you write each condition in brackets and use the multiplication symbol. The next condition is that the occurrence is 3. So we will select the occurrences which are in E2 to E15 and write equal to the number in cell H13. Close the brackets and we get the answer as 31,700. If you see, Sean's name appeared for the third time in the year 2020 and his sales were 31,700 that year. Now I will change that 3 to 1. Sean's name appeared on the list for the first time in 2014 and the units sold were 29,500, which is what our formula returns. So this is how you can find a value based on two parameters. If you want to see how you can use XLOOKUP or index and match, then I will include a list of videos in the description below. You can check those out. Hope you found value in this video. Can't wait to meet you again. Till next time.